Righto, Inside Feed viewers, listeners, it's the Feed podcast brought to you by Inside Feed. We're week 2, and it's not just me this week. We've got a special guest, well, a co-host. So you're hearing from more than just me. Everyone, please welcome the Frayne Train, James Frayne, known far and wide. He asked me to say some things about him. He's a sports lover, gambling extraordinaire, and all-round good bloke. Frayne, welcome to the Feed podcast.
Thanks for having me, Trav. I'm excited. I don't know how I'm going to come across. I might have to put on like a Rab's voice or a
feel good, fastest man,
something like that. Anyway, hopefully I'm not too boring and I can keep people awake, excited, enthused.
Yeah, so we're going to do a couple of podcasts tonight. We're going to bust them out. We might even change shirts, so it's like an optical illusion that everyone thinks that we've filmed at different times of our lives. But we've got the Feed podcast happening tonight, which we'll just have a look at the world of sport and a few things going on. And then we're going to get into the Inside Feed Punters Club podcast, where we will dissect Saturday racing, maybe a bit of sport. I think the Wallabies are on the weekend. Not the Wallabies, the All Blacks and the Pumas. And we'll hopefully find some winners. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start Frayne Train with a quick look at the Wallabies from last week. I'm sure you got a chance to watch. I'd had a few drinks when I was watching it, and it was just a goal fest. And sadly, Reece Hodge missed one at the 78th minute, but I don't blame him. I'm not sure about you, but I don't blame the guy. What do you reckon?
I was kind of disappointed. I left coming away from that game feeling like it wasn't the best display of rugby. It wasn't rugby's greatest showcase. And not to be too controversial in my first few minutes on your podcast, Ben, but I thought it was one of those games which highlighted a lot of things that are wrong with rugby in its sort of present form. One of the things to me was I feel like the referee just had absolutely no feel for the game. Stop, start, the breakdown was messy. I think it's all really summed up when in the second half there was that scrum penalty where Australia had clearly won the ball. I think it was back at Harry Wilson's feet. One of the props had slipped, greasy night, and full arm penalty completely changes the course of the attack. And I don't know, as a rugby fan, I don't know what you thought, but I just felt coming away from that, it just wasn't everything it could have been and wasn't like what we've seen in the first few games.
I agree. Who was the ref? Do you know? I think it was the Kiwi bloke. So fuck you, mate. I don't know who he was. But,
Williams?
Yeah, maybe him. We'll give it to him. But yeah, I mean, I was on the Wallabies 1-12. So at 15-6 with what?
Oh, right. You're fine. 15
minutes to go. I was shouting drinks at the bar, and then I had to ask everyone for a shout. So yeah, look, not the greatest display of rugby, but I wouldn't beat up on Reece Hodge. I'm not here to suck his dick, but he, 5 from 5, missed one at the death. Yes, it's happened twice, but I don't blame that guy. We should have won that game. We should have iced it. I think this week everyone's going, oh, the Pumas are good value at $7. They are going to get fucking destroyed by the All Blacks this week, I think.
Yep.
Sure, like the All Blacks, I think they head home after this. They'll just be on a high, ready to go.
Yep. They'll be out for blood. Minus 30. Pick your own line.
Exclusive tip. Exclusive tip from the Frayne Train. Yeah, no, look, I agree. I think the Argentina, third game in a row, they're not looking good for this week. This one caught my eye this week, or not my eye, but caught my attention this week. I suppose it caught my eye. Was Greg Norman's half mongrel walking on the beach with his dog. I woke up early. Actually, I heard it on Nova. I was driving early in the morning. I think Lutzy and Ash were bloody talking about it on Nova here in Brisbane. And they were like, Greg Norman put up a photo, or there's a photo of Greg Norman circulating with a half mongrel walking his dog. And I thought those paparazzi assholes have got him. But the bloke actually put the photo up himself, which is fair enough because he's got a huge dick.
Shameless self-promotion. How about Greg Norman? Can swing a golf club. He's like 70. He's fucking loaded.
Yeah.
And he's huge Johnson. I mean,
huge Dustin Johnson. I googled his net worth after looking at that, and he's got 400 million in the bank or thereautheabouts.
Yeah, he's got some ridiculous ranch in Colorado, and he was trying to sell it, and they had a crack at him in the AFR, like because he couldn't sell his ranch, and like, mate, the guy has just got everything going for him. How could you say a bad word about him? But anyway,
doesn't he? The other stat that comes up for Greg Norman, and non-golf people might not appreciate this. I'm sure they might. He won 2 majors. He won the British Open a couple of times, but he finished runner-up 8 times in majors. So he's the bridesmaid there. But I thought it was, as you said,
he's probably been through a few bridesmaids.
Well, I reckon he has, especially with that thing. Holy shit. Bit sentimental note, Frano. This one was a bit tough during the week. Having you and I played a bit of rugby league together back in the day. I basically sat on the pine and cut your oranges up. But and obviously I've done some coaching as well. But Keith Titmuss from the Manly Seagulls went to training, didn't come home. That one breaks your heart.
Yeah, shocking. They've had a few hits lately, Manly. They've had a few things go against them, injuries and whatnot. Obviously, this is on a different level. But, yeah, just a shocking one. And it's one of those things where the squad's probably going to go one or two ways. They're probably going to either bandy together and really have a breakout 2021 and really play for him and knuckle down, or you feel like with a lot of young, sort of fragile, you know, a lot of players under a lot of pressure anyway, it could maybe all sort of stack up against them, be a bit too much to bear. So just got to hope for the best with Manly and hope that they can come out next year in 2021 and have a good year.
Yeah, that one.
What do you think?
Tough. Yeah, I agree. I think he was 20 years old. Like I don't know whether the autopsy or postmortem sort of told us anything about his pre-existing conditions or whatever. But obviously they've just gone hard at pre-season and his body's not responded very well. There has to be something wrong there, but obviously beforehand. But yeah, that one sucks. That one hits you to the core. I think he's just been elevated to the Manly top 30. And I read a couple of things saying that he was probably earmarked to make his debut this year, so that one really sucks. But yeah, obviously thoughts and condolences to his family. Change of pace a little bit. I was looking during the week, I suppose rugby league related again, at a long range bet, and I saw the NRL top 8 for next year. The Gold Coast Titans are paying $2 to make the top 8, and I just think that's an absolute certainty. Can you not talk me out of it? Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to part with some cash this weekend for it.
No, that'll happen. They're on the way up for sure. They've got a good coach. They've bought well. I think they've obviously outlaid the cash for David Fafita. I don't know if it's going to materialise as well as they think. But Tino, he'll be awesome. Jamal Fogarty in the halves. They've got some good steady heads. I definitely think they'll make the 8. I think there's some other smokies around there. There's always one or two that pop up. I reckon West Tigers.
That'll be ninth. That'll be ninth.
Yeah, it'll be a real heartbreaker. It'll come down to the last week, and you'll be hoping a field goal or a kick from the sideline will get you home. But I reckon West Tigers maybe for the top 8. I think they Madge has been with them for a few years now. They can, build on last season where they weren't too far away from the 8. They've got a couple of good players who are hitting their straps. I know they've lost Benji, and Chris Lawrence, but I still think they've got some good recruits coming through. They've told that Josh Allier, he can go and get fucked pretty much, which is what you want to see when you're trying to build culture, trying to build a team around people. So I think they could be
I reckon the Tigers will be more than $2, so we might go head to head on that one for a bottle of wine or something. But I reckon they'll finish 9th. I reckon the Titans, they might either be like 5th or 6th. I'll probably come back to eat those words. I thought the Raiders were guaranteed top 4 this year. They finished 5th and should have. The Tigers actually fucked me in that last round by not beating someone. So
I've heard there's been a stack of money for the Bronx to make the 8 as well. I don't know who's parting with their cash for that one, but I think
their draw today, they're pretty much playing Penrith, the Roosters, and the Storm every third week. Like it's just.
I know, but I think it's going to get worse before it'll get better for the Broncos. They've got salary cap issues they got to navigate next year with a few back-ended contracts. There's not a whole lot of talent coming in. Yeah, Kevy will be good for culture, but are we going to see that straight off the bat? Like you said, tough draw. Couple players coming back from injury. Tony Staggs might not play first half of the season. He was by far and away their best. What do you do with Milford? All those sort of things.
Yeah, you do make a good point. I think the Broncos, sorry to get into all the odds, but I think the Broncos are like $4 to make the 8, maybe $3.50.
Yeah, $3.50, I think. Yeah. And then there's been a bit of support at $3.50. So I don't know, maybe that's just the diehards every sort of year, just following into it.
Yeah, all the tragics probably. But you're right. I mean, Tony Staggs, I think he's no good till round 12 or 13. He's by far and away the best player. Round 2, Broncos play the Titans at Seabus Stadium on the coast. So I'll be tanning that morning down the coast and then getting on the beers and going to Seabus Stadium for sure. There's a capacity of about 28,000. It'll be full. Cricket, thank fuck, starts tomorrow because there's nothing else to watch at the moment apart from the horse racing and a bit of rugby, unless you're into like fucking Euro badminton or something. So Australia and India at the SCG. You are the absolute cricket expert in between this podcast right now, or within this podcast right now. So who wins tomorrow? I think the market's about, with play up, it's about $1.66 or 7 or something. Australia will flash those odds up and 2.30 or something like that. India, what do you reckon?
I think Australia will win. They got a more settled side than they've had for the last few years. You know who the openers are going to be in Warner and Finch. They've got Labuschagne, Smith. Then they got the power hitting of Maxwell, Carey. You can sort of shuffle those two depending what you need. If you need someone to steady the ship, Carey can come in. If you need a bit of power, Maxwell can come in. Then you got the bowlers who are top notch with the white ball: Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood. Zampa's been in good form. Yeah. And then throw in all the complexities around bubbles and coronavirus and quarantines and all these fun things that we haven't sort of experienced before. A lot of players from India coming from the IPL going straight into quarantine. No real break from that bubble in the UAE. So I don't know. I think India might be a bit flat to start, and then I think the game on Sunday, or the second game, will be a little bit more even as India acclimatise, feel that bat on ball for the first time.
See, that's why you're on. That analysis is just, you don't get that anywhere else. That's unbelievable. A quick word on whether Joe Burns will retain his position after making 4 runs in about 12 months, or whether Will Pucovski, is it Pucovski?
Pucovski, maybe.
Will he just say "fuck you, Burns" and take his spot, or will Dave Warner, the TikTok sensation, keep Burns in?
Great question. I definitely don't have the answers. I've tried to tap my sources in the inner sanctum of the Australian team, and I've got nothing, because I've got no sources in the inner sanctum. I don't know. Burns has been given the rough end of the stick on a few decisions in terms of selection in the past. Whether that sort of holds enough weight to give him the benefit of the doubt now, test form versus Shield form. I'd definitely be keeping sort of Burns in there for the moment. I don't know if openers Pucovski's best position, even though he's hit about 10,000 runs and
in 2 games,
and like no one can get him out. But I do question some of those pieces of highway that they're playing on down in South Australia when I think they put on 500 plus in that opening partnership. Him and Marcus Harris, and we know Marcus Harris had about 10 tests and don't think he got it off the wicket any time in his stay there. So
I think you and I might have made runs on those wickets down in Adelaide. I agree. I think it's like the incumbent needs to. I think Burns averaged, and I'm making this up as I go, but it was like 40 odd last summer or something. I think he got 97 in one innings, maybe another half century.
Yeah, he did. I had $100 on him to hit 100 at the Gabba, and
he got 97.
And I was orbiting the queue, and then he tried to hit a sweep shot and got bowled. I was there as well. It was heartbreaking stuff.
Oh, that is actually a sad tale.
It is.
But I reckon he just needs to be retained, and it's his to lose. He should go. If he gets, how many tests we got? 4. If his first 2 tests are shit house, then go, hey Burns, you're going back to Norths or Toombul or wherever he plays, and you're out. And Pucovski, I think he's 30. No, he's 23 or something. He's got years ahead of him. But even like Matty Hayden and Langer and all those blokes, they were a shit house, or they were like in and out, shit house, whatever. And then they're arguably 2 of the best openers of all time. So I'm prepared to give Burns another chance. Hopefully, I've got no say.
Not an easy team to make runs against, the Test side for India, like we saw last time when they came out. Bumrah, he was taking wickets for fun. So
but
Sharma's been here.
He can bowl.
Yeah, and I think Sharma's been here about 8 times. So he'll be all right.
I agree. Going to have a look at our best for racing for the weekend. We're going to get more in depth in terms of racing for the weekend on the Inside Feed Punters Club podcast. But I've found one for the weekend. I think you have as well, potentially. I think we're back and forth on some texts today. Or you can give us your best first. I think
I'll lead off.
Are you going to Brisbane?
Yeah, going to Brisbane. I actually think the card at Brisbane's not too bad. There's a couple of feature races in the later part of the card, but there's a horse that's won its maiden last start, and it comes to Metro now. So there's the old saying, they've got to be really good to win a maiden, then win their next start. But I think it's race 4 or 5. It's called Good Size, which is of the meme, Brown Cardigan meme fame.
Greg Norman.
Yeah. And it just won with something in hand. Looked like a good horse last start up at the Sunny Coast. Settled off mile race, settled sort of worse than midfield, started its run at the sort of top of the bend, and then by the time they got into the straight, it was about a length in front. And it was about 4 wide. So I think it could be a good horse. It comes up, I think the favourite in the race is 460, had 11 starts for 1 win and 4 seconds. So I don't think it's coming up against, anything that's shit hot. And I think it can get it done, and it's paying $5. I think if you got a boost, I think you can get to $650, and I reckon that's pretty good value for something that could be pretty good.
650 winner on the first podcast. Let's hope so. That's fucking excellent. I've got 2. I got one for tomorrow night that I got tipped today, which has come up 450. But my best for the weekend is also in Dubin. I think it's race 7. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's race 7. You and I are actually on this first up, and it flashed home. I'm going to be on Baller to win in race 7 at Doomben. It was over 11.10 last start, gets up to 1200 on Saturday. Similar opposition. Boomtown Lass is double accepted in that race, and I think the last, but I think it'll run in that race. I don't think it'll matter. Hopefully, there seems to be a shitload of tempo, like speed in that race. So I think Luke Dittman's on it for Chris Waller. I think Baller at about 550. If you boost it, you might get 10s with play up. It's a good bet for the weekend. The other one tomorrow night, very quickly, which we'll talk more about on the Inside Feed Punters Club podcast, is at the Sunny Coast. It's in race 6. I'm just checking my play up now. Race 6, number 4, Platinum Euros. It's drawn the inside, 2 from 2. It's had a bit of a break. 550 into 450 already. I'll be all over that like a fat prick on a cupcake. Frano, is there anything else on the radar this week? I don't think there's this world of sport without NRL, AFL. I love my golf. It's sort of a bit boring at the moment. There's a bit of the spring racing carnival's over. It's like, fucking hell, can the BBL start? And then we'll be into the summer of tennis. I don't think we're missing anything else. The Wallabies have a game next week.
I think we've just about covered it all, Trav. I think there's some WNBL or something.
That's good.
If you've got a few dollars in your bank account and you need to turn it over.
Yeah, I think American punters, there's a bit of NFL there, and the NBA starts just before Christmas, so there's not long to go. But I think that's it for tonight. We're going to go off and maybe film another podcast and back some winners. So join us on that one. If you're not on the Inside Feed Punters Club on Facebook, then you're just doing yourself a disservice, because we back so many winners there. It's basically, it's just free financial advice. So jump on there. Frano, thanks for your debut. You've seen them like beach balls. And we'll jump over and do another podcast. And on the Feed podcast, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me, Trav.
Thank you, mate.